Your most expensive clothes that you've ever sold, what would you say is the
price point?
Yeah.
It was 25k, a single piece. I've visited Nigeria 5 times. Have ideas to come and do business there, but you guys scare me sometimes. If you're doing it just to make a whole bunch of money, I don't know that entrepreneurship is for you. Find a rich person to marry and call it a day. I did never in a million years thought about making millions. It seemed too far for me, and it's not what I thought about at that time. Did I know that I wanted to be making dresses for as many women in the world as possible? Yeah. Was that a goal? Yeah. And did I work towards that? Yeah. So here we have our production team. They work all through here.
All these are wedding dresses?
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is a big space actually.
This is where the magic happens.
How many outfits or clothes or wedding dresses do you make in like a day?
In a day, no. Dresses take longer than a day.
Oh, okay.
So at any one time, well, every seamstress will be working on a particular dress. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6, 7 will be working on that one time. So here we have the waiting room. So this is the client side.
Okay.
So generally our clients will come in and they can wait here and have a look at any of the collections that we might have on our screen. So then we take them round into this area, which is where we would have our consultations with them. So we can sit down here, come up with any sort of design ideas that they might have. This is before we go ahead and try on actual dresses. And then we follow them through to what we call the gallery. This is where the magic. Well, this isn't actually where the magic.
This is where the magic is displayed.
This is where the magic is displayed. So they can take a look at these, pick up to 3 dresses, which they can try on, and then we take them through here. This is the dressing room.
Oh.
So this is where we.
This is where it stands?
Yeah, this is where it stands.
Oh.
On the little pedestal. Got this really cool 360 sort of view.
Can I stand on it?
Yeah, of course you can.
Am I the first guy to stand on it?
You are actually. And then when you come out through here, you end up back where we started.
Oh, okay.
In the waiting area.
What's the meaning of Alonuko?
So the meaning of Alonuko is actually my surname backwards. So my surname is Okunlola. Alonuko is Okunlola backwards, but I dropped an L because it sounded a little bit funny. I've been making dresses since I was 11. I taught myself to sew, but then my mum used to be a fashion designer, so she used to have sewing machines at home and would make dresses for customers. I guess from there, that was like the start of this journey. When I was 14, my best friend, who unfortunately has passed away now, she basically told one of her cousins that needed a dress made. She was like, yeah, she can make you clothes. So she took the order as if she was my assistant, brought the lady to my house. I set up my front room as if it was basically where I made like my office. Back then it was like a dress for like 15 to 25 pounds for the dress. Made that dress for the client and I just really enjoyed it. So I just started taking lots and lots of orders, and I was in secondary school at the time. I always wanted to do fashion, but coming from the household, Nigerian household, and the fact that I was quite smart, so GCSEs, I got really good grades. To my parents, or more specifically to my dad, it was very much like, why are you gonna throw all of that away to come and be a tailor? But I was very much like, you know, even if I am a tailor, like what's the issue with that? And furthermore, this is gonna be a whole business, but you know, it needs to first of all start off small, and then eventually it will grow into what I have in mind. I felt like just naturally, we're kind of taught to do the, you know, go to primary school, secondary school, college, uni, get married, have kids, do all of that. And I think I like formulas, I like things to work in a particular way, but I also like to understand what I'm doing and be sure that I'm doing this because I agree with it and not just because the system has been made for you to do it that way. So I decided I wasn't going to go to uni, I was going to do an apprenticeship instead at a fashion house. So that's when like the headache really started, because my dad was like, can you not go to university? And I think it was more annoying because I actually got in. If I didn't get in, then it would be like, well, you didn't get the grades. Well, it's the fact that I got in and I said, actually, nah, I don't want to go again. He wasn't too pleased with that. Long story short, he basically said that I can't sew at home anymore. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll have to go and find somewhere to make dresses. Like, we're not going to end this hustle. That's not happening.
Yeah. How old were you then?
So college, so just at the end of college, I would have been 17, 18.
Oh, wow.
So left college, got a studio, and then I also got an apprenticeship at a fashion house. And then I got kicked out of that studio because my sewing machine was too loud. So then I had to find another studio. Funny enough, my dad is actually the one who helped me find the studio. He was like, okay, look, if this is your way of showing me that you're coming round, let's do this together. And I think more than anything, they were able to see that it wasn't like it was a cop-out way for me to not try and work. They can see that I said I want to do this thing and I'm working twice as hard to accomplish everything that I said I would. So got the other studio and then continued at the apprenticeship that I was working at I was there for 11 months. So then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like I think I've picked up as much as I can from these places. I need to now implement and see like all what I've learned, see it, what can it become? And then I received an email from a woman who was getting married, who had said that she had found me on Instagram. She really loved my work and she felt like I was the person that was meant to be making her wedding dress. I was like, okay, maybe I'll try it and see. If it doesn't work, then I guess I have to give you a refund. I don't know, but let's just see. I think I saw the invoice just the other day. The dress was like, I think £200 or...
Oh, really? For a wedding dress?
For the whole wedding dress.
Just to confirm, so that we can compare and contrast. How much averagely does a wedding dress
now? So our wedding dresses, they start from £3,000 for made to order, and then bespoke starts from 5,000, goes up to about 25k, and
25K?
then yeah. So the average bride spends around £8,000.
Wow.
So it was a big jump from £200.
£200?
Yeah, so I took the order, did the whole process, made a dress for her. She loved it. Then after that, it was my sister's wedding dress that I did. She asked me to make her wedding dress. So I said, okay. So again, did it. But when I tell you, there's no dress that I've sweat over in terms of like panic making before, but that one I was very, very nervous. So made it, she loved it again, my family loved it, and I think for me it was when my mum and dad saw it and they were really happy with it. It was kind of like, like you've come from the place where you were like, you want to be a tailor to you being pleased with this. So on the wedding day, everybody was like, this is amazing, like I can't believe you made this, and then I think at that point, that was like the turning point for me, where it was like, when I kind of got that stamp of approval, it was kind of like, no one can tell me nothing. Like, I'm about to start making wedding dresses now.
How many years ago was this now?
8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I was 20. So I said, okay, cool. What I would need to do is, I just felt like for me to be able to establish myself the way I wanted to, it needs to be like a big bang. Like I can't just be whispering to people, oh, do you want a wedding dress made? Do you want a wedding dress made? I need to let everyone be known. So I was like, okay, I need to do like a big show. I need to do a massive fashion show.
Needs to go big.
I need to go big. Like, as in, I'm not gonna just make one dress and just think that, oh, I'll just post it on Instagram and just think that it's gonna do its thing. I need there to be a whole event. And when I was working out like how much I need to be able to create the collection, have models, do a photo shoot, do the show, invite guests, make food, get a venue. It was coming like you was planning a wedding. It was around 30k. Wow. So I'm 20 at this point, right? And I've never done any such projects before. So in my head, I just thought, okay, wildest dreams, just forget about it. Because with me, when I think about something and I like create a plan in my head, it's so visual in my head that I can see it happening. So I just couldn't get rid of that concept of the idea and the fact that this could actually happen. I had always saved. I had saved about £15,000 from all like dresses that I'd been making and things like that. I found out about this website called Kickstarter, which is kind of like a platform similar to GoFundMe, but it's more for business ideas. I said, okay, this looks interesting. But I feel like the black in me or the Nigerian in me had this mindset of, so you're begging people for money. How can you be begging people for money? I was a bit like, I don't know if I want to do it. But one of the key things in it was the fact that I had actually saved 15k of my own money and I was putting that on the table. So it made people think, okay, we're matching her. It's not that she's coming with nothing. And also because I had a small portfolio of work that I had done, I was able to sort of show people that, you know, I'm not a joke, this is real. Also, I was on The Apprentice, the show, Lord Sugar, when I was 16. So I had a little bit of a following, which helped to kind of boost the noise about it. I did a Kickstarter page, had the 15k of my own, raised the 15k, so it was 30 days. So I was going hard. If anybody wants me to do a campaign for them, trust me, I can do it. Because listen, the way I was campaigning for that thing, that was becoming my full-time job. We raised the money in the end, and then it was like, go from here. It was a lot. But like when I look back, I remember being so skinny at the time we got to the show because I was so stressed, literally just working crazy hours. But yeah, we did the show. I remember coming out at the end of the show and literally there was 400 guests there. I was like, wow, it was crazy. Wow. And this was my first show. I was more confused as to how the word got round like that. And then yeah, organically it started coming. It just literally, orders started coming in, made one dress, word of mouth, Instagram, and just really spreading the word the best way we knew how.
Were you living in Nigeria before?
No.
You were born
and raised in London. I've visited Nigeria 5 times. I love it there. Have ideas to come and do business there, but you guys scare me sometimes. When I hear the
what stories are you hearing? Tell us.
Oh my goodness. When I hear the stories of what you people go through sometimes, I said, look, we are Nigerian at heart, but I've been born and raised and lived in this UK. Yeah. The energy you need is different.
Your most expensive clothes that you've ever sold, what would you say is the price
point? Yeah. It was 25k.
25k.
Yeah, what, single piece? Yeah. 25k.
And was it sold to a Nigerian?
It wasn't sold to a Nigerian. It was sold to a celebrity. But the most expensive that we sold to a Nigerian, not far off, 22k.
Oh, okay. See, Nigerians have more expensive.
No, Nigerians, like when it comes to, this is what I'm saying, there's certain things that Nigerians are not going to play with. Yeah. And weddings are one of those things. Like, you know, when it's time, but we know this, like, what was the festival that just happened recently in Nigeria?
Yeah, Olojuoba.
Yeah. Festival, like you can see, like, even just there was one video that somebody made. Just the confidence that Nigerians have when it comes to dressing up.
That's my friend, Gbemi.
Oh, is it? Yeah, he did amazing. Like, I sent that video to our mum and dad. I was like, why weren't you there? Like, this is like, why are you not in the video? I want you to be in the video. But when it comes to dressing up, we don't actually realize how important it is to feel and look good. Like, the way you feel has such a big impact on how you present yourself and just how you operate in a particular facility or, you know, circumstance. And I think Nigerians get that, which is why when it comes to dressing up, they don't play.
So what are some of the challenges you faced? Like, because I'm sure setting up a business and running a business, you know, it comes with a lot of challenges. Can you talk? Can you give us some of them?
I think at different stages, it's different things. Yeah. So any entrepreneur will know that the hours that we spend, especially at the inception phase of business, is almost unrealistic, but we make it work because you have a passion and you know that you need to deliver. Yeah. But then sometimes that can impact, you know, your response time, for example, and customers don't always respect that, and they shouldn't have to because they're paying for a service.
Yeah, they're paying for a service.
So it's like, you know, it's not their business that you don't have somebody in customer service. As it grew, trying to move ahead of the growth. So basically, we can see that the growth is coming, but you don't necessarily have the money to supply that growth. For us, we did do a raise. So we raised capital for us to be able to do all the things that we wanted to do because it was, number one, we had enough of a track record to be able to say, like, you know, we were able to do these numbers, we were able to do this and that just by personal money. So imagine what we can do if we 10x to that, for example.
Did you raise it from like the government or from like a VC?
No, so we did FNF, so friends and family.
Are you open to saying how much you raised?
Yeah, of course. Okay. We raised just under 300,000.
300,000 pounds?
Yeah.
And how many years ago was this?
This was 2 years ago.
So that means this is basically a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
I'm clapping for you.
Yeah.
So how important is it to be able to raise funding and to increase your speed of like scaling up?
Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs are scared to do. I personally wouldn't recommend someone who has my kind of journey doing equity in the beginning. Number one, because the valuation of your company is not very high. Yeah. So in order for you to raise a considerable amount, you're going to give away a lot of equity. Yeah. When you've got to a point where it's like you're established enough of a place where people know who you are, you understand what you're trying to achieve. At that point, you don't really want to delay because you don't want to lose the buzz. People need to keep knowing who you are. And, you know, now what you want to do is basically reach as far and wide as you can. And to do that, it costs money. You need the right team so that when you do reach out, you can actually supply demand. All these things cost money. You might need a particular size space. So for us, our space was really important. We needed somewhere that when people come, they feel like they're getting the luxury experience and not just a luxury product in a rubbish space. For us, if we delayed any further, it could have impacted the company in a way that would have been negative, which we didn't want. Be able to make our move into America, which we did very successfully.
Oh, you're currently in America now?
Yeah, so we do tours in America at least twice a year.
Would you say more of your clients are Americans or Americans, Black Americans, or just
Black Americans?
Black Americans.
Yeah, I would put that down to number one. American size is like 10 times the size of the UK. It's just way bigger.
Yeah, it's way bigger.
So it's like, you know, for every one person you have here, you have 10 there.
Yeah.
A lot of our clientele are Black women. The reach of Black women there is way larger as well. So yeah.
Interesting. How has it been like building your business in London? Because from what I've heard, it's pretty expensive. So like I can imagine like this space now will cost a lot of money on rent.
Yeah.
Can you give us an idea of like how much
a space like this? So our space, it's not too bad. You're going to be spending anywhere between like 50 to 100k
per
a year.
Okay. Yeah.
On rent. Obviously, you have bills and stuff.
Yeah.
Wages, salary, all of that. But there's the UK.
Yeah, that's the UK.
And then there's London.
Yeah.
London is obviously the top. It's the most expensive. But then, you know, in terms of resources, in terms of place, like, you know, what you're able to charge and stuff like that, it does help in that regard. For prestige, and when you're speaking about being a luxury brand and stuff like that, it definitely plays a part. But yeah, there's a cost that comes with it, for sure. We know that if we were in other parts in the UK or in the world, we could be literally spending half of what we're spending. But again, like I said, there is a prestige that comes with being based in London.
What would you say drives you?
Oh, a lot of things. One thing is, again, in my head, when I create a visual idea of what I want to achieve, like it's so visual in my head that I have to get it. I need to smell this and touch this and feel this. This can't just be in my head alone. So that's one thing. I do find that as I've gotten older, creating those visual pictures in my head have become harder. So I feel like when I was younger, I was a dreamer. Like I thought I could do anything. I could achieve anything.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I feel like, and it's crazy because it's like the more you achieve and the more goals you actually hit and targets you hit, you would think that, okay, well, I mean, I'm 50%, I'm halfway through, so surely I can attain this. But I feel like as you get older, maybe your fear factor gets a bit higher, or should I say, higher.
Your risk level
starts.
And you want to just keep, you want to protect this.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. Maybe that dream, you're doing too much, it's all right. But then I bring myself back, and then I'm kind of actually, no, I deserve this. Let me keep going, kind of thing. Also, I just like nice things, and I want to be able to get nice things in life. But I'm a massive foodie. I really don't like making decisions because of how much money is available. If I say I want to go and eat in a particular restaurant, if I want to stay in a particular hotel, I want to drive a particular car, I don't want the decision to be because the finances are not adding up. I also realize that, the more successful you are and the bigger the company gets, the more people's lives are being impacted. Knowing that you can impact lives like that is really, really, really rewarding just for me. I love a challenge. I'm a very, very competitive person. There's two sides of competition. I like to compete with my personal best, but I'm not gonna lie, I like to compete with what's happening in the world. So being able to say that we have the best illusion tool, I like it. I'm like, I did a lot of work for this to happen, and I like the fact that we're known for that. We work hard. We're not cheating in this. We actually work very, very hard. So when you see the reward for your labor, it's nice. And I want to be able to continue that way.
Awesome. You mentioned you have a team of 20 people.
Correct.
I think one thing a lot of entrepreneurs face managing a team.
Oh yeah, that was
there's
one of the things.
There's a lot of headache involved. So how do you what are some of the secrets to effectively managing a team?
I feel like sometimes people, it's the customer is important. The customer is very important. Our clients are very important. We acknowledge you. But also remember at the very same time that you can only do those things when you have a good workforce. And we're not a company that are using machines. We're using real humans. human. So if you don't acknowledge your humans who are actually making your company function, and you respect them and you know, really like acknowledge them and really pay attention to what they want and what helps them to be able to perform at their best, essentially that's going to affect your company. So one of the key things for me was to really like build a team that almost feels like family. A part of that is being able to cultivate a space that that can happen, and just acknowledging the fact that your company is only what it is because of the people who give their blood, sweat and tears to make it happen. I think another thing as well is just helping everybody to understand the core value, and everyone has one vision, so they're clear on what happens. Whilst that might not be the immediate project that they're assigned to, they understand the vision for the brand. So they feel involved, they feel part of this mission, and it's not just, oh, I'm just one of the fairy helpers on the side that's just gonna make this one dress. I would say the most important thing is hiring correctly, having the right people managing teams, trusting your staff, and then also being as communicative as possible. Yeah.
Awesome. As an African, if you had a chance to change something about Africans as a race, what would you change?
I think something that I would change about Africans, specifically when it comes to like business and just our mindset, is how we perceive and value our own. It's almost as soon as a black person is seen to be the operator or the founder or the owner of a company, it's almost like, no, I'm not gonna pay that price. Like
it's not as valuable.
It's not as valuable. But it's like, why do we allow our own to be deemed less worthy? So, and also just create that buzz for our own brands. But yeah, I think that's something that as a collective we could probably do better. Just like respecting our own, like, you know,
awesome,
because we have a lot to bring to the table.
So my last question will come in two forms. First of all, I'm guessing you are 28.
I am.
How does it feel to be this young and to have achieved what you have achieved?
Do you know what it is, yeah?
I don't feel like you're young.
No, I feel young.
Okay.
I feel young,
okay.
But it's like, I feel young, but because like I have so many different goals to achieve, it's like every time I reach a goal, I'm like,
thinking of the
okay, done, I need to get to this place now. Sometimes I would be like, if only I had known how to do that 2 years ago, I could have been where I am 2 years ago. And it's like, Gbemi, give yourself some credit. You've actually done, you know, you've done good. You've done very well. I think just being able to be disciplined, I think is probably the one thing that I pat myself on the back for. More recently, I've taken time to like acknowledge progress and really like, you know, say, well done, you know, you've done this, you've done that. And it's not that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, or I got like, you know, it was literally planned, and there wasn't a blueprint where I was like, okay, yeah, this is the next step, this is the next step. So, but then at the same time, as soon as I pat myself on the back, I'm like, all right, cool, let's see the next thing.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you about, because a lot of people might be hearing this and just feel like, okay, you know, oh, maybe she came from like one very rich family, let's give her like a lot of money. What kind of background do you say you're from?
So we come from a good family. Well, like as in growing up, we go on family holidays every year. So growing up, I thought we were rich. We live in like, you know, we have a good sized house. I went on holiday every single year. I'm sure maybe there might have been times where there might have been financial shortage, but they never made it. I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. Like, would it have been amazing if when it was time for me to do my show, there was just a bank account somewhere with the 30K sitting aside? Of course, it would have been fantastic. For me, I'm like, I lived a great life. I can see that they sacrificed where they could have done whatever they wanted for us to be able to get the fullest of lives possible. So that's why I always say as well that my parents are my biggest positive examples. But in terms of did I get a check to start my company? No. But did I get the support and everything else that you know was for me was as valuable to be able to just, you know, perform at the level I wish I have? Awesome.
There are lots of African entrepreneurs, not even just African entrepreneurs, people across the world who are watching this and they are inspired by your story. What would be your advice to them as regards becoming a successful entrepreneur and starting a business?
Okay, so one thing that I would say is to be real with yourself. And you know, social media is like, it's a blessing and a curse because, you know, there's always this idea to create this image on social media and make your life look like what your life isn't. But that expectation, just ignore it. Like one thing about me, one thing I'm lucky and I'm happy that one of my characteristics, I really don't give a heck. That's why on Instagram, all they think I am is a foodie, because that's what you really see. All right. So I think for me, it's number one, establishing like what it is you want. It's not always easy to do that in the beginning because sometimes all the pieces don't fit together and create this perfect puzzle. Not everybody wants to create this multi-million pound company. Some people have a hobby which makes them money and makes them a good life. Maybe you don't want to have stuff, you know, understanding what it is that you genuinely want for your life. Like I said, write it down, and I think create a plan backwards. Like, so this is where I want to be. This is what I need to do to achieve it. And the plan can change. Like my plan has changed many times. I didn't think I would be here at this point. I did never in a million years thought about making millions or thought about, you know, it seemed too far of a thought for me, and it's not what I thought about at that time. But did I know that I wanted to be making dresses for as many women in the world as possible? Yeah. And was that a goal? Yeah. And did I work towards that? Yeah. If you're doing it all just to make a whole bunch of money, if it's purely for that, I don't know that entrepreneurship is for you. Find a rich person to marry and call it a day. Because if I was doing it all for money, I would have stopped 4 years in. One of like my key pieces of advice that I give is lean on your support system as much as you can. Don't overlook those people. Really lean on them where you can. Yeah.
Awesome. That was perfect. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for allowing me to.
So guys, if you are, if you're a guy and you want to get married, or you are a lady, I think it's
have 15K in your bank account for your wife's wedding dress.
So I'm going to put the links to the company in the description below, the Instagram, the website, and the phone number. If you want to reach out to them, just reach out to them and tell them Tyler sent you. And yeah, buy something. That's what we have to share with you today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.